Hey y'all, Logan here. Back to do a follow-up review on my Nemo Dagger 2. And I told y'all during the initial unboxing and review that after I'd used the tent quite a bit, I'd come back and do another review on it. Well, about 16 nights in the tent, so I thought it was about time to do a follow-up review. So we'll get into that here in a minute. I still really like the tent. Haven't had any issues with it other than a little accident, and I'll tell you about that here in a minute. But it's been great. I've slept in it solo, and I've also slept in it with my wife Carson. Love you, babe. And it's pretty roomy either way. We both have pretty large sleeping pads, and they both fit in the tent, which is great. It is a little bit tight with two people in there, but I'm about 6 foot and my wife is about 5'10", so we're both, large people. But we were still able to sleep in it comfortably with the two of us. All right, so we'll get into some features that I like about the tent and some of the features that I think could be improved. So we'll talk about first some of the things I really like about the tent. So the large vestibule area is something I really like. When you got two people in the tent, there's not a whole lot of extra room in the tent. So the large vestibule area allows you to storage all your gear. You can fit 2 hiking backpacks on this side alone, and then you can fit some other gear there on the other side because each side is the same size. So that's a great feature. Keeps your gear dry and you don't have to keep it in the tent with you right there. So another feature that I really like about the tent is just the size. Like I said, for how light it is and for how big it is, it's really second to none. Like I said earlier, me and my wife can both fit in this tent and backpack with it, and it's great. So now we'll talk about a few things that I added. One of which being these little guide ropes here. So it's just paracord knotted into a slip knot. And I used these on the Pecos River trip that I went on because you're clamping on flat rock. And so you really can't drive stakes into flat rock. So what we'd do is we'd find a big rock here and we'd cinch it down, and that would be our anchor point right there. So I added those. Another feature that I added on here that I'll show you real quick is I tied the Jake's feet to the tent itself, because I did have these come off a few times and they could be really easy to lose, and I didn't want that to happen. So I just took a little twist tie and I tied it on right there, and I haven't hadn't had one come off since, so that's been great. All right, looking from the back of the tent, you can see it has a rather large footprint for being as light as it is. This tent's pretty spacious, like I was saying. You got room for gear on both sides, and I really like that about it. We'll come over here. The other thing I really like, it's great for when me and my wife are together, is you can get in and out of the tent on both sides. So each side is symmetrical with the other, so you get both things on that. I really like these little toggle straps that Nemo puts on most of their tents right here. Makes it super easy to tie your rain fly back when you're trying to do it real quick fast, even in the morning or in the late evening when it's dark. You can do it by feel really easy, and pretty awesome. Rain fly works great. Camped in some rain, didn't have a drop of rain get in the tent, and been really happy with that. So we'll talk about a few things that I don't like about the tent real quick. And like I said, me having to put these twist ties on the Jake's feet, that's something I didn't like very much. Now I get the idea behind it, that if these wear out or break, you can replace them, which I do like that, but I really think they should be secured on there a little bit better. I think they should come zip tied or twist tied from the factory. That way you're not having to worry about losing them. All right. And the other thing that it's not really something I don't like about the tent, it's just kind of a gripe, is the material's real thin, so you got to be careful with it because it will rip. And that leads me into the accident that I had. All right, now let's talk about my accident. Kind of hard to see from far away, so I'll get my cameraman here to zoom in, and I'll put my hand away. But so I've got a little rip here and a little rip here. And how this happened was I was camping out at the lake, and me and my wife were sleeping in here. It was early in the morning, and a dog came and tried to get in the tent with us and put its claws through the mesh up here and the sidewall right here. It was about ½ an inch hole on either one, and so that sucked. And I was kind of worried about how I was going to get it repaired. I'm no seamstress. I know I couldn't repair it myself, so I contacted Nemo and got with them. Somebody emailed me back the very next day, which was awesome. A lot of times when you're dealing with warranty companies, you don't hear back for a while, but very next day they got back to me. They said, hey, you know, needed pictures of the damage and let me know how it happened. I, being an honest person that I am, told them, hey, you know exactly what happened. Dog tried to get in the tent, ripped a few holes in it, and they said, okay, great, just send it back to us. They gave me an address and sent it to the address. It cost me about, I don't know, $8 in shipping. Nothing too bad. They did want you to mark the spots clearly, so what I did was I took some masking tape and I just put it around the holes just so they knew exactly where the damage was. So I shipped it off. 2 weeks later I had my tent back, and they contacted me the day before they shipped it, and they said, you know, $15 and we're good to go. So all they did was charge me $15 plus shipping on my part, so total cost $23 to get 2 holes fixed. Now she'll never be as pretty as she once was, but I think a little scarring adds some character anyways. So in my last review video, somebody asked me, how do I pack this in my pack? So that's what I'm going to show you. I got my Kelty Zephyr 48 backpack right here. I use this on a lot of shorter hikes. I could do an overnight weekend trip with this bag, but for my longer trips, I'm going to use a different bag. But we'll use this bag today. Alright, so with the tent, I like to keep the stakes in its own bag, the poles in its own bag, and then the ground cloth and the tent and the tent bag. So the reason I like to do that is because in the past, not with this tent, but in the past I've had the tent pole, the pegs or the poles damage the tent itself, and so I just like keeping it separate now. So what I'll usually do is I'll put the tent in the pack first. I'll have my sleeping pad in my bag, or sleeping bag and pad down here at the bottom, and then I'll put the tent in right here on top of that. And I can do it sideways with this, so it'll sit right on top of the sleeping bag and pad. So I'll put that in there, and then the poles, what I'll do is I'll stick them in a pouch. This pack right here has these nice rocket tube pouches on it, so I'll stick it right in there. I've also, on some of my other packs, I'll do it in the water bottle holder, because usually I'm only packing in with 1 water bottle. But I'll do that there, just anywhere. You can even strap it to the side of a pack if you don't have those, but I like to keep it on the outside of the pack because it's just the tent poles, and it doesn't matter if these get wet. So I'll do that there, and then I'll strap it down. Like so. And then I just like to keep these in a pocket. This particular pack doesn't have too many pockets, so what I'll do is I'll just keep it in the brain of the pack. Boom, right there. Easy access, ready to go. So that concludes my follow-up review. Overall, extremely happy with the Nemo tent. I'm glad that I spent the $400, $450, whatever it was on this tent. Super light, super packable, and really for the size and the weight, this is probably one of the best tents you can buy. Another great plus is Nemo's awesome warranty service. Had my tent back to me in 2 weeks, and this was during peak spring camping season, so I'm sure they were really busy, but I really appreciated how the company got the tent back to me, and I was able to get back in the field with it so quick. So y'all keep adventuring out there, and maybe I'll see y'all on a trail or on a river.